Welcome to the Daily AI News, brought to you by the Day After AI News channel.
It's good to be here.
Happy Valentine's Day. It is Saturday, February 14th, 2026. And I have to say, just looking at the news we've got stacked up for today, the relationship between us and AI, it's getting complicated.
Complicated is probably the understatement of the year. It feels a bit like one of those relationships where you're not sure if you should propose or just change the locks.
Right. Exactly. Because usually when we do a deep dive, the narrative is it's pretty clean. It's either, AI is about to take over everything or AI is a giant bubble about to pop.
And we're all silly for believing the hype.
Yeah. But today, we have really solid evidence for both of those things happening at the exact same time.
We really do. It's a huge disconnect. I mean, on one hand, you have this new study that's just, frankly, shocking. It says AI fails at 96% of real-world freelance jobs. It's like a bad intern.
An intern that lied on their resume.
Exactly. But then on the other hand, you have deepfakes of, Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt that you literally cannot tell from reality. And companies like Google are telling their staff to go all in on AI or, get out.
It's incompetent and all-powerful all at once, which is a very confusing place to be.
It is. So that's what we're going to try and untangle. We'll hit this remote labor index study, this cited 2.0 video tech that has Hollywood in a total panic, OpenAI's move into military drone swarms, and the burnout that's hitting the very people building this stuff.
Let's start with the failure. I think a lot of people listening might feel a little bit validated by this. We keep hearing that AI is coming for every single white-collar job, but you brought in this study about the remote labor index, the RLI. What is that exactly?
So the RLI is so important because it cuts through all the marketing noise. See, normally when a company like Google or OpenAI tests their model, they use benchmarks.
Right, like can it pass the bar exam, that kind of thing.
Exactly. Sterile, controlled tests. It's like taking a test in a silent classroom, the remote labor index. They didn't do that. They went to Upwork, the freelance site, and they gave these AIs real paid jobs.
So actual money on the line.
Real money, real clients. Things like graphic design, 3D modeling, editing video, complex tasks with multiple steps that humans do for a living.
And the results were, I'm guessing, not great.
Not great, is putting it mildly. They were abysmal. The study found that the AI models performed worse than a human 96.25% of the time.
Wait, 96% failure? That seems incredibly high for 2026. I mean, I use these tools, you use these tools, they seem smarter than that.
They are smart in a specific way, but what they lack is agency. That's the key here. Even the absolute top-of-the-line model, Claude Opus 4.5, it only had a success rate of about 3.75%.
And Gemini.
From Google.
Even worse, down at 1.25%.
When you say fail, though, what does that mean? Are we talking about, the client just didn't like the color of the logo? Because, clients can be picky. No. These were hard, objective failures. Technical failures. The study gave examples where the AI would deliver corrupt files. They just wouldn't open. It didn't know how to package the final product. Or, and this one is my favorite, a client asks for an 8-minute video and the AI confidently delivers an 8-second video.
So the trailer, basically.
Right. It just hallucinated the length. Or with architecture, it would generate a floor plan for a house, but the shape of the building would change from room to room. It was inconsistent. It's this competence trap. It can write a lovely poem about a house, but it struggles to draw a consistent one. It doesn't understand physical space. It just predicts the next pixel.
Okay, but this is the disconnect that drives me nuts. If the tech is failing at that higher rate on Upwork, why is corporate America acting like this is a done deal? You've got this report that Google is offering voluntary exit packages to its sales teams.
That's the multi-billion-dollar question, isn't it?
The message from management is basically, move fast, think AI, or move on. So why are they firing humans for an AI that might just deliver a corrupt file?
Well, there are two things going on, I think. First is something called AI washing. Companies are under so much pressure from Wall Street to look efficient. So you cut human staff, you say AI is doing it, and your stock goes up, even if the actual service gets worse for a while.
So it's a bit of a bluff.
In part. But the second piece is what Matt Schumer was talking about in that viral essay. Did you see that one?
The one comparing now to February 2020, right before everything.
That's the one. Schumer's whole point is that looking at today's failure rates, like in that Upwork study, it's like driving by looking in the rearview mirror. He argues we're hitting a new phase where AI starts to code itself.
Okay, we hear that phrase a lot, code itself. What does that actually mean? Is the AI literally opening a code editor and writing Python?
In a sense, yes, it's creating a really rapid feedback loop. Instead of a human engineer writing the code to make the AI better, the AI is starting to write the code that improves the next version of itself. Humor thinks the rate of improvement is about to go vertical because that human friction is being removed.
So the idea is we're in the calm before the storm. The AI is dumb enough to mess up a floor plan today, but smart enough to rewrite its own brain for tomorrow.
That's the theory. We're in this messy, awkward middle phase.
Well, speaking of people getting scared, that leads perfectly into this talent exodus story. I was reading on TechCrunch that the very people building these tools are kind of running for the hills.
It's a really telling trend. I mean, you look at a company like XAI, half the founding team is already gone. At OpenAI, they're dissolving their mission alignment teams. This isn't just normal turnover.
Is it just burnout? The pace is insane.
It's burnout, but it's mixed with something more existential. There's this phrase going around Silicon Valley right now, staring into the abyss.
That sounds a little dramatic for a software job.
It does, but imagine you're one of those engineers. You see the models 6, maybe 12 months before we do. There are these stories, maybe anecdotal, of engineers leaving tech completely. They go off to write poetry or become carpenters. Yeah, because they feel the core technical work, the actual coding, is about to be automated away. They're literally building their own replacement.
So the experts who see it coming are leaving. But at the same time, the education system is doubling down. I saw this story about Anthropic partnering with CodePath, putting their AI Claude into the hands of 20,000 students.
Right, and specifically at places like HBCUs and community colleges. But the interesting part is how they're teaching. It's not about memorizing syntax anymore.
This is the vibe coding thing.
Exactly.
I gotta say, vibe coding sounds like something a marketing team invented to sell T-shirts. What does it actually mean?
It sounds a bit silly, I'll give you that. But it's actually a pretty good description of where things are headed. It means the valuable skill isn't writing the code from scratch. It's managing the AI that writes the code. You're checking the vibe of what it produces. Does this feel right? Does this actually do what I wanted?
So you're less of a writer and more of an editor. Or maybe a director.
Perfect analogy. There's a quote from the source that said, "We now have the technology to teach in 2 years what used to take 4. The barrier to entry is just plummeting. The role is shifting from builder to, I guess, manager."
Which, if we tie it back to the Upwork study, means these new vibe coders are going to have their hands full fixing a lot of crypt files.
That's the problem right now, yes.
No.
We're training a whole generation of managers for a workforce, the AI, that isn't quite ready to be managed.
Okay, I want to shift gears here. Because we've established that AI struggles with complex, logical tasks, but there is one area where it is absolutely not failing. And that is, for lack of a better word, deception.
The Seedance 2.0 videos.
This is the tech that has Hollywood completely spooked. I saw the clip on X, the old Twitter. It's a fight scene between Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt. But it's not them. It's not from a movie.
And crucially, it doesn't have that shimmery, weird look we associate with AI video.
None of that. It looked perfect. If you just showed it to me cold, I would have assumed it was a leaked scene from a new blockbuster.
This is Seedance 2.0. It comes from ByteDance, the company that owns TikTok. And the jump in quality here is honestly terrifying. AI video always had these tells, right? The hands were wrong. The background would sort of melt a little. Seedance seems to have fixed that consistency problem.
I saw another one they called Waffle House Fight Club, and another that was like a Seinfeld clip, but with Chandler from Friends in it. It's just creating these alternate realities that look completely real.
And the Motion Picture Association is already freaking out, talking about massive copyright infringement. But I think just focusing on copyright kind of misses the much bigger point.
Which is what?
The geopolitical side of this. This is Chinese tech. ByteDance is a Chinese company. And at the same time, we're seeing reports that China has released an open source model called GLM-5 that is now beating American models like Claude Opus on some benchmarks.
So while we're arguing about faking Tom Cruise, the underlying tech is accelerating globally. And it's not just staying on our screens. TechCrunch is reporting Meta is planning to add facial recognition to its smart glasses.
The project is called NameTag internally.
And it does exactly what it sounds like. You look at somebody, and their name just pops up in your vision.
Now, combine those two things. Think about it. You have glasses that can identify anyone on the street, basically ending public anonymity. And you have video tech that can create a fake video of that person doing or saying anything you want, instantly.
That is a really bad combination.
It's the merger of identification and fabrication. We're walking into a world where you can't trust video, and you can't be anonymous in public.
And here we are, worried about whether the AI can format a file correctly. It really puts that whole failure narrative in perspective.
It absolutely does. The AI might be bad at logic, like a floor plan, but it's becoming disturbingly good at perception, at mimicry.
And, unfortunately, it's also getting good at warfare. We have to talk about OpenAI. For so long, Sam Altman was the face of safe AI. He was very clear that AI shouldn't make weapons decisions, at least not in the foreseeable future.
Well, I guess the foreseeable future arrived this week.
OpenAI has been tapped for a Pentagon project to develop voice-controlled drone swarms.
This is a huge shift for them. The report says OpenAI's tech isn't, pulling the trigger itself. It's the interface. A commander gives a voice command, and the AI translates that into complex actions for a whole swarm of drones.
But isn't that just semantics? I mean, if the commander says, neutralize that target, and the AI pilots the drone to the target, the AI is in the kill chain.
It's an incredibly thin line, and I think it shows the pressure these AI labs are under. They need these big government contracts to survive, and the military wants this technology badly. If an AI can understand language better than a clunky joystick interface, they're going to use it.
And it's not just flying things. That Fox Business report on Foundation Future Industries,
Yeah.
They're not building chatbots. They're building actual humanoid robots.
The Phantom units, about 5'9", walks on 2 legs.
And they're not just a demo in a lab. The report says they are deployed in Ukraine right now, doing surveillance and logistics.
The goal there is to keep human soldiers out of the most dangerous situations. But the number that really jumped out at me wasn't about Ukraine. It was about U.S. manufacturing.
The 20,000 cars.
That's it. Foundation claims their robots helped build 20,000 cars in American factories last year. That's not a prototype. That is deployment at scale.
So let me just get this straight. On the thinking side of things, like the Upwork jobs, the AI is a 96% failure. But on the physical side, robots building cars and drones flying missions, it's happening.
Well, the Upwork failure was about nuance and agency. A robot on an assembly line is just following a very precise, repetitive pattern. AI is great at patterns. It's terrible at common sense.
But if an AI is controlling a drone swarm, and we know that same kind of AI can hallucinate an 8-second video when you ask for 8 minutes, isn't that a recipe for a catastrophe? A hallucinating drone swarm is a horror movie.
That is the risk of being in this messy middle. We are deploying these tools into critical systems defense, manufacturing before they're fully reliable. We're just betting that the human in the loop, the commander or the coder, can catch the mistake in time.
Or that the robot doesn't weld the car door shut with a person inside.
Let's hope it doesn't come to that.
Before we go full dystopia, we should probably mention that AI is working for some things. It's not all deepfakes and killer robots. It's also becoming kind of boring.
The invisible utility layer, the stuff you don't even think about.
Right. Airbnb said that 1/3 of all their customer support tickets in the US and Canada are now fully handled by AI. Not assisted by, but handled.
And that makes total sense. Customer support is largely pattern matching. I lost my key has a defined playbook. The AI doesn't have to be creative. It just has to follow the script.
And it's in our food, apparently.
Yeah.
Companies like Unilever are using AI to test recipes.
This is actually one of the cooler uses. They simulate flavor profiles digitally. So instead of making 1,000 batches of a new spice blend, the AI can predict what it will taste like based on the chemical compounds. It cuts months off of R&D.
So if it's a pattern, a support ticket, a flavor profile, a face, the AI is winning. If it's a messy, open-ended project with vague instructions, it fails.
That is a perfect summary of where we are today, the agency gap.
But even with that gap, the money is still pouring in. Cohere just hit $240 million in revenue. They're talking about an IPO. The market clearly thinks that agency gap is going to close, and soon.
Either that or the fear of missing out is just too powerful. The bubble talk is getting louder for sure because the cost of training these things is insane. But as long as revenue is going up, the train isn't stopping.
So let's try to wrap this up because my head is kind of spinning. We have an AI that we can't trust to edit a video file, but we're starting to trust it to identify people on the street and fly drone swarms.
It is a dizzying contradiction. It feels like the world is moving too fast and too slow all at once.
If you're listening to this right now, maybe you're a coder, an artist, or just someone trying to figure all this out. What's the big takeaway here?
I think it comes back to that vibe coding idea, because it really applies to everything now, not just code.
Can you read?
The valuable skill in the future probably isn't doing the raw work itself. The AI will get the floor plan right eventually. The skill is judgment. It's being the person who can look at that floor plan and say, hold on, that's not structurally sound. Or look at that Tom Cruise video and say, the lighting in the left corner is off. This isn't real.
So we're shifting from a world of creation to a world of curation or verification.
Precisely. Human verification is about to become a premium service. When AI-generated content is infinite and free, human-verified truth becomes a luxury good.
That is a really interesting way to frame it. I want to leave everyone with a final thought to chew on.
Hmm.
We're heading into a world where AI can improve itself and create media that is indistinguishable from reality. But we know it's unreliable. We know it hallucinates.
Right.
So are we actually preparing for a future where human skill is what matters? Or are we just preparing for a future where we need a human left to blame when it inevitably goes wrong? Because when that drone swarm makes a mistake, who's responsible? The vibe coder who was supposed to check its work, or the black box that made the decision?
That is the question that I think our legal system and all of us are going to be wrestling with for the next 10 years.
And with facial recognition glasses making a comeback, is giving up our privacy just going to be the price of admission to this new world? A lot to think about.
It certainly is.
Thank you for breaking this all down.
Anytime.
And thanks for listening to The Deep Dive. We'll catch you tomorrow.
Before you go, please subscribe to the podcast Prime. And if you enjoyed today's episode, hit like to support us. Thanks for listening and see you next time.